弟兄姊妹，如果可以打開傳道書嘅第11章。
Brothers and sisters, if possible, can you open the book of Ecclesiastes chapter 11?
我哋好快嚟到差唔多最後嘅傳道書12章。我哋去到第11章啦，仲有一章啫，過埋今日。
We are almost come to study at the end of the book of Ecclesiastes because they only have 12 chapters and we study the chapter 11 today.
第11章比較特別啲嘅唔容易去明白，但係可能係某一個嘅總結對整個嘅傳道書而預備第12章。
So chapter 11 of Ecclesiastes may be a little bit difficult to understand, but this is a conclusion that we can understand it and prepare for the next chapter.
嗱，我想問大家喺應該係今年早時咧，就有一套卡通片中國製造嘅卡通片，你知唔知啊？叫做哪吒，有冇人知嘅舉手
？Anyone know this movie? This is animation created by the Chinese team.
有冇人睇過
？Have you anyone
我睇過中國製造做得咁好啊！打破咁多紀錄去捧下場先啊
！Such a nice animation and movie that was created by Chinese and broke lots of record too.
我都唔知嗰陣時係講國語定係講英文。They speak Mandarin at the time we Mandarin 我有英文字幕we have English capture yeah okay right now they have the English and interpreter and but at the time they only speak the Mandarin okay 嗱，如果你有去睇過嘅時候你會好唔好睇啊？Anna 好睇啊，OK yeah good
You have watched this movie and then you may find it interesting.
有機會你睇下嗱，但係我唔知你睇嘅時候有啲咩感覺。
But when you're watching it, what you think about it?
其實如果你當一個戲去睇嘅時候咧，幾有娛樂嘅成分。
We just think this is just a story, then it's quite amazing.
但係如果你留心去睇嘅時候，其實嗰個戲嘅背景呢個卡通片嘅背景嘅裏邊咧，係能夠係包含咗有好多中國道教嘅思想喺裏邊。
You think deeper into and look deeper into this movie, then you will think there is lots of thinking came from the Buddhism.
你會留意咧，佢哋嗰啲嘅所以有好多滿天嘅神佛出嚟嘅。
So you can see lots of kind of God and godliness all mentioned there.
咁你又會留意咧，嗰啲嘅神咧係有佢嘅強處，但係亦都好軟弱嘅。
But the God mentioned there have strength, of course, but also have lots of witnesses.
哪吒唔係因為佢哪吒，佢嘅軟弱係好臭脾氣啊。
So yeah, Naja also kind of have witnesses.
Even though he was the one of the God, but he has so high temperament, right? So 你會留意到喺嗰裏邊出現嘅。但係唔單止咁去睇，你會留意到家裏邊嘅思想，亦都或者整套戲帶到一個好緊要嘅信息俾你嘅。
And there's some very important message this movie try to bring to the people.
呢個思想裏邊係影響住好歷世歷代嘅中國人，甚至可能影響住今日你同我，可能我哋部分都有一啲咁嘅思想。
Actually, this kind of mindset has been rooted many years in the culture of Chinese, and maybe even right now we still carry some of them.
even 到上邊壓落嚟嘅時候，可以頂住人可以勝天嘅。
And this mindset is the man is possible and can conquer the nation, the nature.
呢個觀念喺某個程度好似好鼓勵我哋人向上。
This kind of mindset or thinking seems to be all encourage man or
我哋要努力
to progress and
我哋
pursue.
要去不斷去成長
We have to work hard and grow so we can conquer anything.
但係如果嚴格嚟睇一睇嘅時候，佢話俾你聽嘅時候，喂究竟人可唔可以勝天呢？
However, when we think further, is it possible that man can conquer the
人係咪
nation?
咁大能力呢？
Is that man so powerful or so that we can handle everything?
或者人嘅能力係咪大到可以勝過造物嘅主宰？
Is man capable to control the nation?
但係如果人唔去深究嘅時候，或者我哋唔理造物主宰個，我哋就擺落去嘅時候，人嘅努力可以勝過天，甚至可以勝過我哋今日睇傳道書所睇嘅主題命運。
So if we ignore there's a creator of the world, and then we can think that man can conquer the nation, the nature, and also actually we can conquer the faith of our life.
嗱，我哋希望大家留意傳道書係所羅門一位智慧嘅人，去透過觀察去了解世人，佢哋處事做人係一啲嘅限制，喺限制嘅背後，佢哋一個嘅總結叫做虛空。
So remember that the book of Ecclesiastes is written by King Solomon after he had so many observations and found there's so many also limitation in life, and he concluded that life is meaningless.
但係人好多嘅人未必留意到佢嗰個限制喺度。
However, lots of people don't realize they have limitations.
而未猛咁去嘗試去掙扎嘅時候，可能換嚟嘅時候，未必係一個幸福嘅人生。
And they try to struggle and work hard to overcome everything. Then it may not be a good thing for them.
其實你留意傳道書嘅第11章，所羅門佢透過觀察人有幾個嘅層面嘅時候，人好似能夠掌握嘅命運，但係再深入一點嘅時候，其實唔係。
So full observation, King Solomon mentioned in chapter 11 seems people can able to control the faith, but actually it's not possible to do that.
或者我哋可以咁講，喺第11章嘅時候，所羅門去勾畫咗人喺對命運嘅睇法嘅裏邊有幾方面嘅盲點。
So also King Solomon point out there's several blind spots when people think about how to control their faith.
請留意呢個盲點可能係你持守緊。
Actually, this blind point maybe you still carry some of them.
甚至你用呢一啲嘅盲點去培育緊你下一代或者再下一代。
Actually, may still applying those blind spots in your next generations.
或者可能啲盲點已經綁住咗你嘅人生，但係你唔知道點樣去處，甚至可能去無奈地繼續去掙扎。
So actually, those blind spots may be bounding your life for many years, and you don't realize that, and still struggle among them.
人可能只係講呢個就係我嘅命運。
And people will say, "Oh, that's my faith."
但可能我哋睇唔到呢個係我哋嘅限制。
Actually, the people didn't realize that actually is your limitations.
嗱，我哋留心睇一睇，究竟所羅門喺第11章講咩？
So maybe we pay attention to understand what King Solomon tried to mention in chapter 11.
我哋試下留意一齊讀第1節。
Maybe we all read together the verse 1.
佢話：當將你嘅糧食撒在水面，因為日久必能得着。OK， 嗱，所羅門嘅觀察，人去咁諗法，我將啲食物抌出去 ，OK， 將來一定有收成。
So from here, people think that after they cast the bread, there should be some harvest after that.
係咪一定咧
Does it always happen like that?
望係咁望，
Of course, we hope that,
但係未必一定嘅喎。
but there's no guarantee.
當你有收成嘅時候，咁你話嗱呢個係咪啱咯？
When you have harvest, then you think, oh yeah, if I plant, I can get harvest.
如果冇收成，呢個咪唔啱咯？
But you didn't get anything or any crop, then you say, oh, that's wrong.
養啲仔女將來養翻你，係咪我哋做父母嘅期望？
You brought up your children, and then one day the children, when they grow up, they will support us. Is that what you expect as a parent?
見到人哋啲仔女咁乖嘅時候，哇！呢個咪定律咯。
When you see, someone else's children so nice and so good.
但可能應用喺我哋嘅裏邊嘅時候，可能係令到我哋會失望。
But ourselves, maybe you may be disappointed.
所以所羅門喺第2節裏邊話俾你聽， 你要分給7人或8人，因為你不知道將來有什麼災禍臨到地上。
That's why Solomon said, "Give portion to 7, yes, to 8, for you do not know what disaster may come upon the land."
但原來所羅門會提我哋嘅時候，我哋有好多嘢係唔知嘅。
So Solomon reminds us there's lots of things it's unknown to us.
我哋年年係咁種嘢嘅，就算係高手，可能今年嘅時候，因為唔夠雨水嘅時候，好多都未必得，係咪？因為我哋唔知道嗰個天氣或者一啲嘅災禍或者蟲患嘅情況。
After we plant, we don't know we can get anything because there may be disaster or there will be maybe different environmental factor that have impact on it.
人以為知道佢嘅安排嘅結局，但係佢唔知道有一啲嘅嘢係自己唔能夠控制，包括災禍。
So people try to control the future, but actually, however, they don't know there will be disaster that may happen.
所羅門繼續去觀察嘅時候，佢講到，佢話雲若滿了，雨就必倒在地上。
So Solomon continued to say that with clouds are full of water, they pour rain upon
佢
the
話
earth.
樹若向南倒或向北倒，樹倒在何處就傳何處。
When a tree falls to the south or to the north, in the place where it falls, there will it lay.
嗱，我哋嘅觀察，雲滿咗嚇幾科學，咁咪落雨咯，係咪？你尋日冇得去飲茶，因為落雨啊。
So it seems really scientific that when there's full water and then for cloud, it will rain.
今早好似話落雪㗎，哇！咁好陽光。
And this morning, the weather forecast thing mentioned that it will snow. Actually, now it's so sunshine.
人以為我哋嘅智慧裏邊有一啲嘅嘢可以觀察到、預測得到，但其實呢個未必係一個定律嚟嘅。
People believe for our wisdom and observation, we may be able to predict something. But actually, there's no guarantee.
其實所羅門巧妙去讓我哋思想緊樹跌落嚟。
So Solomon wanted to think about it when the tree fall.
會跌去邊呢？
So which direction it will fall?
跌去東邊、南邊？
Is it to fall to the south or fall to the north?
其實可能我哋都唔知道跌落邊度。
And even able to predict or to have confirmed that.
但我哋會話俾你聽，樹跌落嚟，你跌喺嗰度咯。
One thing we're sure when they fall, we fall over there.
我話俾人聽嗰度嘅時候，可能我就代表我已經知道喺邊度喎，但其實唔知喎。
Actually, it seems we know, but it's actually there means may not we know where.
所羅門更加提升我哋呢一種咁樣嘅觀察，其實影響緊我哋嘅生活㗎。
Actually, this kind of we observe life like that, then maybe have impact in our life.
看風就必不撒種，看雲就必不收割。
So someone said, whoever watch the wind will not plant, whoever look at the cloud will not reap.
睇現代啫嘛，睇 forecast 咪冇責任。
Just you look at the forecast, you may change your plan.
如果你今睇啊，哇咁大風啊，都係翻屋企啊，唔好嚟啦，咁咪喺屋企咯。
You say, oh, it's so windy. Your forecast mentioned it's so windy today.
但係可能今日你嚟咗嘅時候，你感受到上帝同你去説話，或者感受到解開你心裏邊一啲嘅盲點。
However, when you come, then God will tell you how to deal with your struggles in life.
所羅門究竟其實想話俾我聽，人以為我哋嘅經驗、我哋嘅智慧可以了解、掌握咗一切，其實唔係。
Solomon mentioned that people may think that their experience and their wisdom can help them to solve everything, but actually it's not true.
所羅門好直接話：風從何到來？骨頭在懷孕嘅婦人嘅胎中。點樣嘅成長，你尚且不知。
So Solomon told strictly that as you do not know the power of the wind or how the baby is formed in the mother's womb.
我哋嘅知識有限。
Our wisdom is really limited.
就算你問 AI。Even
you use AI or artificial intelligence.
AI 有時而家都學咗人好叻嘅，好圓滑去答你。
Even AI right now learn from the trick from human thinking that may not tell you in a wrong.
因為 AI 嘅 data 係人擺落去嘅。
Remember, the data that the AI based on is from human too.
同樣地，人嘅有限 ，AI 其實都有限。
If the human's wisdom is limited, also the AI has its own limitation.
再進一步，人嘅智慧有限。所羅門要話俾我聽，這樣行萬事之神嘅作為，你更不得知道。
So because the human wisdom is limited, so Solomon told us, so you cannot understand the word of God, the maker of all
人
things.
對神去了解明白，其實我哋都係好有限。
And human was limited knowledge of God's word too.
所羅門去了解人，如果我哋下種，我哋會收成。如果冇嘅時候，咁又點呢？人以為自己經驗可以掌握到一切，但係如果唔係嘅時候，我哋可能就會話呢啲係我哋嘅命運。
We will think that if they plant, they will have harvest. But actually, eventually, if they didn't, well, what they will think, and people think that.
今年我哋嘅流年不利。
So today, someone mentioned that this year, you may not be rich.
點解人有收成，你冇收成？可能我哋條命冇。
So if you have someone have harvest and we don't have harvest, then actually because it's our faith is really controlling us.
所羅門話唔係關命，而係關我哋好有限。
Actually, Solomon told us this is not about your faith. Actually, it's about our limitations.
所羅門提我哋話，雖然人面對咁多有限，可以為命運換嚟嘅係乜嘢嘅人生？
So even though we're so limited, but so how if you believe in faith, or what kind of living will come out?
所羅門好巧妙用第6節去勾畫咗人嘅人生喺呢個有限或者嘅人生嘅裏邊，佢究竟點樣去活？
And so in verse 6, Solomon point out that we have so many limitations of how our life will be look like.
請留心所羅門點講。
Pay attention how Solomon said that.
佢話早晨要殺你嘅種，晚上也不要歇你嘅手。因為你不知道哪一樣發旺，或是早殺的，或是晚殺，或是兩樣都好。
Solomon says, so you'll sit in the morning and at the evening, let not your hand be idle, for you do not know which will succeed, whether it's with this or that, or whether both will do equally well.
所羅門其實話俾你聽，人佢唔知道自己命運，佢就會點樣啊？咁我早又殺，晚又殺。因為我哋唔知道邊一樣有收成，我哋晚不斷去努力去尋找或者去尋找換嚟，希望有一個真正嘅出路。
Because people doesn't know their faith or what their future is, so what they can do is try to do everything and see which will work for them.
因為人唔知就猛咁去尋找。
We don't know, they try to pursue and seek for everything.
弟兄姊妹，當我哋今日去了解下你自己。
Today, when we try to reflect ourselves,
我哋好努力生活，但係你有冇留意到喺你嘅人生唔係你去掌握。
Even though we work really hard, but actually our life is not controlled by ourselves.
但我哋鼓勵人努力嘅同時嘅時候，我哋要了解人嘅人生唔係你去掌握，或者你安排、你計劃、你估計嘅人生未必對你係最好。
While we still encourage people to work hard, but that doesn't mean that we know our future and everything is in our control.
神透過以賽亞提醒人，神嘅意念係唔同我哋嘅意念。
So through Isaiah, God reminds us His thought is different than our thought.
神嘅道路唔同我哋嘅道路。
And His way is different than our way too.
神睇嘅嘢更高，我哋未必喺當時去了解。咁人點做？
Because God can look at a more higher ground than and he knows better than us.
雅各佢勾畫咗一個嘅情況，好實在嘅一個嘅情況。
So James outlined the situation, and actually this is really close to realistic.
佢觀察到人，佢會雖然唔知，但係都會計劃前路。
So even though we don't know the future, but we will still plan for it.
我哋計劃可能今年、明年去邊度某城做生意，但係其實將來如何，我哋都唔知道。
We will plan maybe coming years where we should go for the business, but however, we don't know what will happen.
人生裏邊會不斷為自己個安排計劃，以為咁樣就係好，但係其實我哋唔知道乜嘢係最好。
So even though we have been trying to plan our life, but actually we don't know what's the best for us.
雅各佢俾我哋一個好實際嘅建議，或者一個好屬靈嘅一個嘅建議俾我哋。
So actually James gave up a very practical or actually spiritual suggestion.
雅各話：你們只當說，主若願意，我就可以活着，也可以作這事或作那事。
James told us instead you ought to say, if it is the Lord's will, we will live and do this or that.
如果呢個係神嘅旨意，
If it is the Lord's will,
即係換句話講，將個決定權俾翻上帝。
that means we should leave all the final decision to the hand of God.
弟兄姊妹，原來我哋人生唔係我哋自己嘅掌握，
Brother, sister, our life is not controlled by ourselves.
我哋人生將來讀乜嘢好，做乜嘢好，
So in our life, what should we study or what should we work for is not up to
有
us.
時我哋做父母，我哋都唔敢同啲仔女講你將來做乜嘢做乜嘢。
Even as parent, I can't even tell
Right?
my children when should you work for in the future.
你知唔知你 Do you know what kind of subject you want to study or what kind of work for the future? You don't know. You don't know. Yeah, we don't know. 人係唔知㗎。
The human cannot know everything.
請留心
However,
點樣應用出嚟？雅各建議你，主若願意 ，If this is the Lord will， 如果呢個係神嘅旨意，讓你嘅唔知道交俾上帝嘅手，讓你嘅安排交喺上帝嘅手，讓你所行嘅每一步交喺上帝嘅手。
however, we cast everything to the God's hand, and even though let Him to help us to understand what is His will.
弟兄姊妹，
Brothers and sisters,
箴言所羅門喺箴言裏邊有一個好提醒人嘅一個嘅説話，
King Solomon also reminded us in the proverb that
可能都係佢嘅觀察。佢話：人心籌算自己嘅道路，為耶和華指引他的腳步。
So it may be also come from Solomon's observation that in his heart a man plans his course, but the Lord determined his step.
明唔明？當我哋可能計劃，就將你嘅計劃交俾上帝。
When we have a plan, we just leave the plan to the God.
可能嗰個出嚟唔同你嘅計劃一樣，
And the outcome may not be the same as your plan.
但我哋相信
However, we believe
神會指引我哋腳步，
God will guide our path,
唔單止指引。
not just guiding.
The Lord determines His step, right?
And 耶和華都會指引佢嘅腳步。
弟兄姊妹，
Brothers and sisters,
與其我哋怨命運或者去睇命運，原來所羅門要話俾我聽，人有好多嘢唔知道佢嘅將來，不如就我哋可以嚟到上帝嘅面前，祈求上帝指引佢嘅道路。
so rather than we just want to overcome our failure, then Solomon reminds us because we don't know our future, but we can still ask God for guidance.
今日
Today,
你為自己嘅將來，為你下一代，可能你安排好多嘅嘢， 請你唔好忘記交託俾耶和華，留意上帝喺你人生裏邊佢嘅旨意係乜嘢。
So even though today you have planned for yourself and for next generation, however, we still remember we should leave all this to the God and try to pursue and understand what God's will is.
我哋今日基督徒唔係讓命運去帶我哋，而係讓上帝去帶我哋。
Today, as a Christian, we should not be guided by our faith, rather than we should guide by our God.
再提。
And furthermore,
喺第7、第8節嘅時候，有一個好得意嘅咁樣嘅觀察，我哋一齊讀第7、第8節。
Maybe all verse 7 and 8 together.
佢話光
Light
本
is
是
sweet,
佳美
and
的，
it pleases the eyes to see the sun. However many years a man may live, let him enjoy them
然而
all.
也當想到黑暗嘅日子，
Let him remember the
因為這
days of
日子必
darkness,
多
for，they
所
will
以
be
來
many.
的都是
Everything is
虛
come
空。
is meaningless.
所羅門喺第7節裏邊，佢提到光，
So Solomon mentioned light in verse 7.
光可能我哋覺得係好
We believe light is a good thing.
啊。所羅門唔係同我哋討論緊光好定唔好。
But however, Solomon is not talking about is good, light is good or not.
所羅門想話俾我聽，當人覺得光好嘅時候，佢就成日曬太陽。
So when people think, so what Solomon want to mention that when we think light is good, then we try to explore it all the time.
所以我哋好多人都未必覺得光好。所以我話俾你聽，所羅門咪同你討論緊光好定唔好。
So Solomon actually is not talking about light is good or bad.
而所羅門想話俾你聽，如果人覺得某一樣好，佢哋就會將佢嘅各樣嘅精力擺喺當中，以此為佢嘅滿足。
So Solomon want to tell us that if we think something is good, then we will to try to pursue it all the time to satisfy our desire.
明白？人不斷去滿足緊，可能我哋會，哎呀，細個有冇人中意食朱古力啊
Anyone want to anyone like chocolate?
朱古力啊！
Chocolate is so good.
所以有朱古力，我哋一定想食啊，係咪？
So when you have chocolate, then we will take it.
但可能我哋去到某啲，喂，我啲皮膚唔好食咁多朱古力喎，唔好食咁多糖喎，但係我哋又忍唔到喎，係咪？
So, however, the chocolate may not be good for our health and also our skin. However, we cannot control ourselves.
明白？哦，你哋唔中意食朱古力，有冇人中意食龍蝦？
So, besides chocolate, anyone else like lobster?
有冇人中意食龍蝦？今年其實啲龍蝦平咗㗎，因為運唔到去某啲地方，平咗啊，係咪？
Actually, the price of lobster dropped.
但可能，哇！龍蝦有抵食有得㗎，明嘛？但係，喂，你冇留意到，可能你皮膚又唔得㗎。
So you think, oh, lobster is so good, and then the price is dropped, then I should take more. However, it may be bad to your skin.
哦，原來人生裏邊，我哋係隨住我哋嘅喜好，去不斷滿足我哋嘅內心。呢個係所羅門嘅觀察。
So actually in our life, we also look at our preference and also try to only satisfy our desire. And this is what Solomon observed.
嗱，我哋好相信冇人想攞苦離身嘅。
Of course, we want to try to be happy.
冇人想攞苦離身嚇。
Yeah, we want to be difficult. We don't want life to be difficult.
人我哋一成個 be happy 啊。
So that's the reason we always say we want to be happy.
可能我哋嘅人生我哋就 be happy。
So maybe we should pursue the life as way to try to be happy.
我哋都唔理阿 Job Bush Lee 講 be water，我哋要 be happy。
So we will try to be happy in our life.
啱定唔啱？
Is this right or is this wrong?
冇錯啫，牧師係咪？
There's nothing wrong, right, to be happy.
我哋讓自己心開心，呢個價值觀冇問題嘅啫。
We should let our life be happy. There's nothing wrong with it as a way of our life.
呢個 我都冇話錯㗎。
Remember, I didn't say
不過
be happy is the wrong thing.
不過，當我哋追求 be happy 嘅當中，會唔會我哋跌喺一啲嘅錯誤嘅當中？
However, when we try to be happy, we will maybe get into the wrong way.
會唔會我哋換嚟我哋嘅人生只係不斷滿足緊我哋嘅私慾？
As a result, our whole life is just try to pursue and to satisfy our desire.
甚至我哋不斷滿足我哋嘅私慾嘅裏邊，換嚟我哋一啲嘅惡習。
And as a result too, that we get lots of bad practice in our life.
會唔會我哋得閒得翻兩杯好開心，得個人 relax， 但會唔會去到某一個情況，你變咗酗酒嘅問題咧？
So maybe
明嗎？
think maybe I may take some drink to alcohol in our life to enjoy our life, but actually we will be addicted to it.
所以或者當我哋不斷追求 be happy 嘅時候，我哋忽略咗原來我哋嘅人生係咪我哋追求緊上帝喺你人生嘅旨意，你人生嘅價值？
When we try to be happy, we should ask ourselves: Is that any impact on our purpose of life to follow God's will?
原來所羅門要話俾我聽，當我哋好似呢一種嘅命運人生觀係對嘅時候，但係可能換嚟嘅，可能讓我哋跌喺一個黑暗嘅日子。
We think that kind of life value is right. Try to be happy, then we may have a problem that we may track or fall into a track that we live in the dark days of darkness.
可能當我哋不斷滿足我哋嘅心裏邊嘅喜悅嘅時候，換嚟嘅時候，可能我哋跌喺一啲嘅罪惡嘅當中，或者係罪惡嘅糾纏嘅底下，跌落一啲嘅網羅嘅當中，我哋也都唔知道。
So when we try to be satisfied all the time, then we may be fall into this sinful behavior, and we didn't realize that. 雅各書佢一開始已經提我哋個人嘅被試探唔係被自己嘅私欲牽引誘惑。So the book of James reminds us that we are tempted by all our desire.
佢話私欲既懷了胎，就生出罪，罪既長成，生出死來。
So James said, each one is tempted when by his own evil desire he is dragged away and test.
當人生不斷去滿足 be happy 嘅當中，可能換嚟嘅係一啲糜爛嘅人生。呢一個所羅門話其實好冇意思，虛空嘅虛空。
So when we try to pursue the happiness, and then we may end up fall into the darkness, and Solomon conclude that our life become meaningless in this way.
乜嘢叫人生？
What's the meaning of life?
當始早為咗滿足自己嘅喜悅，可能換嚟嘅長期去逃避神裏邊嗰種嘅換嚟一啲糜爛嘅人生。
So what will happen when the beginning of the world that our Adam and Eve try to pursue or try to get their desire, and end up they lead to fall into sin and try to get away from God and fall into darkness.
我哋可以話神唔好，我哋可以話神幫我，或者我甚至去到一個情況冇神。
We may bring the God that God is not helping me, or even conclude that there is no God in the world.
但係有冇諗過，其實我哋嘅人生行錯咗一個方向？
However, have you thought of that? Actually, all this happened because you are on the wrong direction in your life.
當我哋今日追求人生嗰個喜悅嘅人生嘅時候，請我哋問一問，呢一個喜悅嘅方向係引導緊你更親近神，定係引導緊你更遠離神？
When you try to pursue the happiness or this desire in your life, and will that drive us too far away from God or get too near to God?
今日我哋可以好多嘅享樂，但可能我哋持守啲享樂嘅時候，換嚟可能讓我哋停止聚會， 又停止下，又停止慣。
When we try to pursue or satisfy our desire, and actually maybe end up we been stop worshiping and make it a habit to stop worshiping God.
嗱，耶穌其實嚟一開始已經要調教我哋嘅價值觀。
When Jesus come to the earth, and he start try to change our way of our life.
嗱，耶穌嚟到嘅時候，鼓勵我哋積攢財寶喺天上。
So when Jesus remind us, we should treasure, we should put our treasure store our treasure in the heaven.
背後嘅重點其實耶穌會睇到一樣嘢就係耶穌話：因為你哋嘅財寶喺邊度，你嘅心就喺邊度。
Because Jesus want to remind us, for where your treasure is, there your heart will be also.
即係換句話講，你今日你嘅心係引導緊你去滿足你嘅私慾，你嘅心定係引導你去追隨神自己嘅旨意。
So that means that you to ask ourselves that your heart actually is guiding you to pursue or to satisfy the desire in, or right now is guiding you to pursue God's word.
所以耶穌繼續去讓我哋明白嘅時候，佢即刻去講到，佢話眼睛就是身上嘅燈，你哋嘅眼睛若瞭亮，全身就光明；你哋嘅眼睛若昏花，全身就黑暗。你裏頭嘅光若黑暗，嗱，黑暗是何等嘅大。
That's why Jesus told us, the eye is the lamp of the body. If your eyes are good, your whole body will be full of light. But if your eyes are bad, your whole body will be full of darkness. Then the light within you is darkness. How great is that darkness?
今日你要取悅你自己嘅心，但係你嘅心係向住上帝定向住一啲嘅私慾？
Today, you want to follow your heart. However, you do ask yourself that your heart actually is pointing to or target at the desire, or pointing to the God.
耶穌跟住作咗一個某個程度嘅總結，或者某個程度嘅引結，佢喺24節咁樣話。
And also, Jesus tried to make a conclusion for us in verse 24.
佢話一個人不能侍奉兩個主，不是惡這個愛那個，就是輕那個，你們不能又侍奉神又侍奉馬門。
So Jesus said, no one can serve two masters. Either he will hate the one and love the other, or he will be devoted to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve both God and money.
弟兄姊妹，今日我哋嘅心係滿足緊我哋自己嘅喜好私慾，定係去追隨緊上帝喺你心裏邊嘅旨意？
So Lord, so brother sister, you ask yourself that your heart is trying to satisfy our desire, or to serve God alone, and also to pursuing God's will.
當我哋話要侍奉神嘅時候，我哋要留心會唔會被我哋嘅私慾限制住我哋。
Today, when we want to serve God more, and we subject to or limited by our desire.
最後
And finally,
所羅門喺第9、第10節某個程度去做一個咁樣嘅總結。
and in verse 9 and 10, and Solomon make such a conclusion.
或者延續上一點，佢話：少年人啊，你在幼年時當快樂，在幼年嘅日子使你的心歡暢，行你心所願行的，看你眼所愛看的，卻要知道為這一切嘅事，神必審問你。
And Solomon further point out that, be happy, young man, while you are young, and let your heart give you joy in the days of your youth. Follow the ways of your heart, and whenever your eyes see, but know that for all these things God will bring you to judgment.
所羅門提到你嘅心，
King Solomon mentioned about the heart.
冇錯，你可以讓你嘅心歡暢。
Yeah, you can let your heart give you joy.
所羅門有提到你嘅行為，你嘅身體。
And also Solomon mentioned about your behavior in your body.
你可以跟隨你嘅身體裏邊。
You can follow your heart and your body.
呢度應該係你嘅 body，OK。弟兄姊妹，可能呢個係我哋嘅價值觀。
So he is not bringing up about where you.
牧師你講乜嘢？
So pastor,
好似好複雜喎。
what you're talking about seems to be really complicated.
嗱，我講一樣嘢，你亦會好明。
But I will make it simple for you.
我哋中國人過新年，
When the Chinese is enjoying the Chinese New Year,
我哋會恭喜人心想事成。
we will greet everyone that whatever you think will happen.
你想唔想心想事成？
Do you want to be everything you want? That will happen.
你唔會話有人恭喜你心想事成，閘住反彈咁啊，唔會嘅喎嚇。
But for sure, when someone say, "Oh, greet you," you're upset when someone greet you that whatever you think, you will make happen.
人好想心裏邊所想嘅能夠得到滿足。
So people want to always satisfy with their desire, what they think of.
請你當期望心想事成，請你問一問自己：我嘅心正確好定正常好咧？
So when you want that, you may also ask yourself, your heart is following the right way?
耶利米先知
The priest Jeremiah,
佢好了解人性嘅情況。
he understood that how people think.
喺耶利米書第17章裏邊，佢話人心比萬物都詭詐，壞到極處，誰能識透呢？我耶和華是監察人心、試人肺腑的，要照各人所行的和他所作的事，結果報應他。
Jeremiah said, the heart is deceitful above all things and beyond cure. Who can understand it? I, the Lord, search the heart and examine the mind to reward a man according to his conduct, according to what his deed deserve.
人好似好自然，我哋嘅生活係隨心，
So it seems natural that you follow our heart.
但係當隨心嘅時候，請我哋了解我哋嘅心嘅情況，會唔會已經好詭詐壞到極處？
So when we want to follow our heart, but we should ask ourselves, is our heart is deceitful above all things and beyond cure?
無論耶利米或者所羅門，佢哋都要話俾我聽，冇錯，我哋可以隨心，但係請你記住個結局，神必審問。
Both Jeremiah and King Solomon told us that yes, for sure you can follow your heart, but also we to remember that God has judgment.
與其我哋面對神嘅嗰種嘅審問嘅時候，我請我哋留意，我哋要點處理？我哋留意處理我哋嘅心，除掉一啲唔好嘅事情。
So when we try to deal with the judgment, then we have to also banish anxiety from our heart.
明嗎？所羅門其實喺箴言裏邊亦都話俾我哋聽，你要保守你嘅心勝過保守一切，因為一生嘅果效從心而發。
So Solomon will remind us in Proverbs that above all else, guard your heart, for this is the wellspring of life.
我哋好熟呢段經文，但係我哋要再問一問，究竟所羅門要話俾你聽點樣保守我哋自己嘅心？
We may be familiar with these words, but however, we should ask ourselves that how Solomon reminds us how to guide our heart.
其實所羅門已經話咗俾我哋聽。
Actually, Solomon already told us.
佢一開始已經講話：我兒啊，你留心聽我嘅言辭，側耳聽我嘅話語，都不可離開你嘅眼目，要存記在你嘅心中，因為得着他就得了生命，又得了醫全身的良藥。
Because Solomon mentioned earlier that my son, pay attention to what I say, listen closely to my words, do not let them out of your sight, keep them within your heart, for they are life to those who found them, and health to a man's whole body.
所羅門要提我哋，讓我哋嘅心上有神自己嘅話語。
Solomon reminds us we should always have works, God's work in our life.
今日你嚟到上帝面前，除咗我哋去唱詩，我哋有冇將神嘅話語藏喺我哋嘅裏邊？
When you come before the Lord today, besides the singing the hymn, how you putting God's word in your heart?
有冇讓聖經嘅話語調教我哋嘅人生觀、我哋嘅價值觀？
We let God's word to adjust our life and then transcend our life.
定係我哋繼續讓我哋嘅以為嘅命運去主宰你？
Or we just still thinking that faith is controlling us.
或者你繼續去隨從你嘅心，或者其實係更加直接嘅，係咪隨從緊私慾？
So you just following your desire right now.
弟兄姊妹，
Brothers and sisters,
讓你嘅心裏邊有神嘅話語去調教、引導你。
may your heart be full of God's word to transcend your life.
所羅門繼續去講，所以你們從心中除掉愁煩，更要從你嘅肉體克去邪惡。提到我哋嘅肉體。
So then banish anxiety from your heart and cast off the trouble of your body, for youth and vigor are meaningless.
我哋除咗留意我哋嘅心，更加要留意我哋嘅身體。
Besides our heart, you also pay attention to our body.
保羅喺羅馬書第8章嘅時候，佢提我哋今日體貼肉體，其實係死換嚟嘅係死；體貼聖靈先至係生命。
Apostle Paul reminds us in Rome chapter 8 that the mind of sinful man is death, but the mind controlled by the Spirit is life and peace.
點解保羅喺哥林多書信提醒我哋嘅基督徒嘅身體係聖靈嘅殿？
So why Paul reminds us in the letter to Corinthians that our body actually is the temple of God.
保羅要提醒我哋嘅身體有冇隨從緊聖靈嘅引導？我哋要喺裏邊有冇常常聽到聖靈嘅聲音，跟隨聖靈嘅指引，行你嘅人生。
So Paul reminds us our body is follow God's guidance and also use God's guidance to for your living.
弟兄姊妹，保羅去勸勉提摩太。
And Paul reminds Timothy too.
佢話：只是要棄絕那世俗嘅言語和老虎荒謬嘅話，在敬虔上操練自己。操練身體益處還少，唯獨敬虔，凡事都有益處，因有今生和來生嘅應許。
Paul said, have nothing to do with godless myth and old wives' tale. Rather train yourself to the godly. For physical training is for some value, but godliness has value for all things, holding promise for both the present life and the life to come.
保羅去鼓勵我哋去操練敬虔。
Paul encouraged to train to be holiness,
弟兄姊
of
妹
godliness.
我哋每一個星期聽嘅道，我哋點樣建立這個健康教會、健康嘅人生？我哋點樣喺屬靈嘅操練裏邊去提醒弟兄姊妹？我哋淨係聽，我哋冇去操練，都係枉然。
The sermon is reminding us how to build a healthy life, a healthy church, and how to what are the disciple discipline we have to follow. If you just listen and don't practice them or apply in your life, this is kind of waste.
但如果我哋今日聽到上帝同你所講嘅聲音，我哋願意調教我哋嘅人生觀、我哋嘅價值觀、我哋嘅取向，讓上帝成為你，再一次成為你嘅主。 學習去操練一個敬虔嘅人生，聽從聖靈嘅聲音，去跟隨聖經嘅話語嘅教導，生命嘅改變。
So today, after you listen to work and use them to guide your life and follow them, in your life you have changes and transcend.
今日弟兄姊妹，你問一問自己，
Brother and sister, you ask yourself.
今日你個人嚟到，你聽到上帝對你講乜嘢未？
Today, when you come to church, physically here, have you listened to what God tried to tell you?
你試下每一個星期完咗翻去問一問自己，今日我聽咗啲乜嘢？
So
我次次問我仔。
Every week, when you return home,
Right.
you ask yourself, what I have listened today.
弟兄姊妹，你明唔明啊？聽咗咁多道嘅時候，你聽咗啲乜嘢？你更加問一問自己，你點樣應用？
You should ask yourself also that how to apply to in life what I have listened.
如果我哋今日聽完對你生命裏面冇一種嘅改變嘅時候，我哋只不過係所羅門觀察人生裏邊佢點樣無奈嘅虛空嘅命運。
If you didn't change or transform your life after you have listened to all of God's word, and then our life is just like what Solomon told us is meaningless.
嗱，如果你聽得到上帝對你 一啲嘅提醒，就將你嘅人生交託俾上帝。
When you listen or heard the word God's reminder to you, then you may let God's word to change or transform your life.
讓你嘅人生唔係單係滿足你嘅私慾，而係滿足上帝喺你人生嘅旨意。
So make your life not for pursuing or desire, rather than try to trace or pursue God's work and God's will.
基督徒唔會信咗耶穌即刻變好。
So Christian won't just change overnight, become a good one.
因為你仲有好多舊我喺當中。
Because you still have lots of old self inside.
但如果你識調教，唔係隨從你嘅心成為你嘅主，而係讓上帝成為你嘅主，每一個星期不斷去操練，我相信好似保羅講，看你學習嘅功夫應該做師傅。
So you let your God's word to guide your life and change every time you have God reminder, then your life will be transcend.
你嘅人生只係隨從，好似命運住在你。
Will you conclude? Will you not make your life to just follow what people believe that in this faith?
定係讓上帝掌管住。
Rather, we should let our life be controlled or managed by God.
你同我都唔知道前路。
Both you and me, all of us, that we don't know what is our future.
但如果我哋相信上帝係掌管你前路，就讓你嘅前路交託俾上帝。
If we affirm that God is the one who is holding your future, then may you cast and let your life be whole by the God.